I'm reconnecting with a rocker that I'm going to hit you with some memory stuff. You don't remember, but I don't
Oh
care
boy.
because my memory is great. We had a WDHA Rock the Park back in, I want to say 2010, but I don't know if my memory is that good. Do you guys remember, was it a Creed tour? Were you out with Creed?
We did do shows with Creed for a while. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
so it was our
most
Creed
of them
show.
were amphitheaters, but
Yes,
yes.
yes. So that would be it. PNC
Oh,
Bank Art
cool.
Center.
Nailed
And
it.
I just remember the guys from Saving Abel, we had like 4 bands on the bill. It was Creed and you guys, I don't remember the other 2, but I'm going to be honest. You guys were the most fun band.
Oh, awesome. I'll take that
We
because
hung out.
I'm a huge fan of Creed. So like,
Yeah,
yes,
we hung
success.
out before the show. I think it was me and my morning show co-host at the time. And you guys were just great. And we just had fun. We were trolling everybody and walking around, watching sound checks and having some beers and just having a great time. So my memory of you is always so fun. I'm with Jared Weeks from Saving Abel. So thank you for joining me on WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. And I told you off Zoom as well, I feel like you're with me every freaking day because I
I
get
think
to the
that's awesome though.
office and the Saving Abel gold record is right next to my office. And let me tell you, I looked at that today because I said, let me take a photo because I know I'm going to be talking with Jared. You know, I think back to that. That's a pretty amazing accomplishment.
I swear to you, when you just said it, I was like, well, that was a pretty rare performance. Like you don't get to see a lot of that these days, especially back then when you sold actual CDs. So it was something really cool and tangible. It was a good moment in my memories for me. Like I'll never forget actually accomplishing that goal. It just really meant you guys liked us.
You really liked us. It
You really
was,
liked us.
when I look back on some of that, because, I've been at WDHA a long time, certainly predating 2010 or whatever year, we hung out. And I think about that and I think, all these bands that are on the walls of the hallowed halls of the radio station for gold records and platinum records and diamond status, a band like
Yeah.
Creed who created
Yep.
that. I think to myself, holy crap, these guys you should take that minute and suck it in because not everybody has a gold friggin' record hanging on their wall, my friend.
I truly, and to this day, I'm still grateful for it. Like it's like as a little kid, I finally got the platinum record, but growing up, it's like, oh, once you get that platinum record, you've made it. Well, although my views have changed, I just thought it was something so cool. I remember we were on the Nickelback tour when we received those. We had a lot of the team that was around us was there presenting it to us. It was just one of those moments that I'll never forget, one of those life-changing moments for me. But,
And you should
I don't,
relish that. Absolutely.
absolutely. I've got to,
100%.
absolutely. I think it's
100%.
cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool. And it's a great accomplishment. And, you guys, we have radio bands. Always loved our
Yeah.
radio bands, bands that put out songs to radio, The Sex is Good and Addicted and just, all of those great, great songs. And Saving Abel, definitely one of those awesome radio bands. So I want to rewind before we fast forward and talk about the future a little bit.
Gotcha.
Because you kind of knew when it was time to walk away. At first everybody said, well, Jared's doing a solo project and then all of a sudden you kind of took a little breath back and said, you know what, I think it's time for me to just take some time and concentrate on myself. So
yeah, I did. I was 23 when I flew out of Mississippi, to LA for a record deal. So, I didn't really know the world was much bigger than Mississippi, so to actually get out there in the world and see, how great it is. It come to a point, in my life where I couldn't survive without, being drunk or high, 24/7, those habitual behaviors and problems, that you end up bringing home out there, from the road. And it was definitely time for me to get control of mine, it took, a few years, it still takes years of therapy, which is something I'm never ashamed to talk about. I really hate the stigma that we put on it in this country. I
and
think
that's why I
mental
brought it
health.
up. You have
Yeah,
been so
absolutely.
helpful to so many people because I've seen you be really open about so many things. And I think that that's such an important thing to talk about. And especially after COVID, with people
Yeah, well,
realizing things
that's
that they never realized before.
That's where I started, during the isolation and the whole George Floyd, thing that was happening there. I really, I saw a lot of people hurting, and along with me, I was hurting, and you always hear, be the change you want to see that's in the world. You hear that, but I started focusing on, in order to be the change, you got to change from the inside out, So I had a lot of time. It was isolation, but I had a lot of time to get to know the darker side of myself, those things that you're not proud of, those shadows, the secrets you hide, the shameful things. You've got to sit down with those things. And they'll tell you what kind of person you are, and they'll show you how powerful you can be. You sit down with those things and the things you're scared of, and fear is a good teacher. You figure out what it's trying to teach you, and you learn and you grow from that. And it's definitely something I've been doing for a few years now. But I see it a lot at my shows, when I tell people, that I don't like that we can't talk about mental health, but I see it on a lot of people's faces. And it's not just at the shows, it's everywhere you go. You see it on people's faces that they forget, how valuable they are and that they're worthy of the life that we live. And it's pretty much a passion of mine to keep reminding folks of that. I'm living proof that you can absolutely change your world and everything that's around you, and that you can be your own hero. And you're the one writing the story, And it took me a very long time to realize how much power we have and how much value and how much worthiness that we have just being here. And I count it as my purpose now. It's part of my passion. It's so much bigger than the music for me. I'm not writing about BJs and ego anymore. It's more of a, I like to think that our lyrics, have a better substance in them now. But yeah, it's a lot of consistency and hard work, but it's so worth it. Like I've learned how to love myself,
And a better artist. You're a better artist now because not only that and the maturity that comes with that, but I think 2021 comes and you decide, you know what? Singer and Saving Abel, he's leaving, and then all of a sudden, things kind of start to fit into place, if you will. The universe starts to
Yeah,
fit into place and things start to fit into
absolutely.
place. And you have a better appreciation for the things that you did, for the contributions that you made. You're a more mature person now, and you can really feel it a lot better. Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like that I'm vibrating at a much higher frequency than I used to, That's more of my thing, these days. But yeah, I'm totally proud of where I've come from and how hard it's been. I mean, I honestly wouldn't even change the journey because I'm really proud of what it's formed me into. I'm really proud of all those roots that make this Saving Abel tree with this Jared Weeks tree, And yeah, it's just something I used to, I wasn't capable of being proud of things like that, or even sober enough in the moment to notice them when they're happening.
And it's
And
nice to
now
see you
it's
and Jason back together too. And the looks on both of your faces when you're together, because there seems to be a deeper appreciation for each
well,
other from both of you. It's like so cool to see.
well, that started obviously during the isolation as well. Such a big fan of Shinedown, but when Zach Myers and Brent put out that acoustic double album, they did the cover. I loved it. I was just listening to it, and I kept thinking, Jason and I have tons of these songs that even before Saving Abel, we had a little thing called Shade of Grace, and
Yes.
so I end up talking to him, and I'm like, man, why don't we just record these songs? I was like, if anything, Coffee House Rock will play them. You know what I'm saying?
And then you
Uh,
go back. So you go back to the Shade of Grace time, which I guess
yeah,
is probably like a little bit of the embryo of Saving Abel.
absolutely. We
It's
wrote
sort of the
18
beginning of
days.
Saving Abel, right?
We wrote
And
we wrote 18
that
days
had to
as
bring
Shade
you
of
back
Grace.
like to this place of because we all, I think every single one of us has to go back to the place of this is why I do the thing I'm passionate about.
That's
We lose that
exactly,
all the time. We can lose that with the
and
BS that goes on in the world.
it's very easy to lose it. A
Yeah.
lot of times we forget why we're here. And for me, the whole meaning of life is you find that one thing, your passion, and you chase it down. The universe will provide everything else as long as you're chasing what you know is true to you and your tune and your frequency and what gets you up in the morning. but yeah, getting back in the studio, obviously, things lined back up, but we got to rediscover the passion of who we were when we were little kids. I'm 40 now, but I was young then, and it was really great rediscovering that. It relights fires that haven't been lit for a while, and it really made us dig down a little deeper and search for the music that we were trying to find. And we've done such a good job, and I'm really proud of this album, and I'm pretty excited, to obviously to show it, coming up here soon.
Yeah, we're really excited too. I was really, really excited hearing about new music. And it's so funny because something drops in my inbox and it's the Counting Stars, the One Republic song. And
Oh
then
yeah, yeah,
and I'm like, Saving Abel is on this song? Like, and I was
yeah.
like, how did I not know this song could be rock and like with a little bit of a metal tinge to it? How did I not
Truth,
realize that?
truthfully, I didn't notice it until I was standing in the studio singing it, and I
Is
was like,
that
"Whoa!"
right?
It was, yeah. Well, I heard they sent me samples, because they wanted me to be prepared, obviously going in the studio, and I was sitting there listening, but they had Ryan Tedder's voice with the metal, just so I could follow the structure of the song. It was just really cool in itself. Ryan Tedder singing to metal, it was amazing. But getting in the studio and actually figuring out how do I direct my voice in this? What's the best way to sing it? How does it come from here rather than here? It was kind of cool to get back in, and it all happened in a very short period of time. It just so naturally fell into the
You
grooves, and
guys are so
I'm
great together. That melding of the voices, melding of the voices doesn't always work out
a
phenomenally,
little
and
bit of
this worked
contrast.
out
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
I mean, it just was
I'm really
amazing, amazing, and the fans
I'm
loved it, and
really
it was just
glad that I'm
really
really glad
cool.
that we when I went to Machine Shop a couple with last year, I do believe I invited Oscar up to sing with us, and we had so much fun. And from that moment on, I'm really glad that I kept the relationship, the friendship. I watered that fern, like good friends do, and it was he calls me up, he's like, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah,
And it was all done before I knew it, and it was out, and I was like, dude, it's really crazy how things just come about, and we're blessed every day, but it's just so cool to be a part of this with those guys, man. Super cool guys, love those
yeah,
guys.
yeah, and so many good things happening for you. Um, I was reading, when I was reading stuff about you, and I always remember an artist who happens to be in Jersey for a couple shows this week, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. And I
Yeah.
remember reading that you were such a big fan of Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Oh my God, I swear to God, I was thinking that right now. I was like, I think Kenny Wayne's up there right now.
I love him.
Yeah, I
He's
just
been
got chill
coming to
bumps. I just got
DHA.
chill bumps.
He's been coming to DHA with Big Ken, with Ken
Oh my
Sr.
gosh.
since I remember him being a 16-year-old kid, 15, 16-year-old kid, walking in with his little guitar and his little amp. And, I had just started there. Whenever we do this, me and Kenny Wayne, we always talk about how we were just two kids. He always says, who let me in the radio station? And I'm like, who let me behind the board? We were two kids
Right.
growing up together. And he's just such a monster talent. So tell me, for you,
I
when you
was
first saw
set.
Kenny Wayne, what was that like?
17 years old. It was the first rock show I'd ever seen. And yes, I call it rock because blues is rock, god dang it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
where it comes from. But I was 17 years old, and it was at the Mid South Fair at Memphis, Tennessee. And of course, he was there with Noah and the band that day. But it totally blew my mind. Like, the way his guitar sang, actually. Kenny didn't really sing a lot then. Of course, I love Noah and his whole soulful, voice, and it was just oh man, and this is how I know it's true. I get a little teary eyed, but I knew what I wanted to do when I saw that show. And it just lit a
Yeah, it was your
fire in me,
moment,
and
your moment, your
it
watershed
was my
moment.
moment.
I've often
Yeah.
asked
And
artists
I
about their watershed moment. Yeah.
and he would come back every year, Kenny Wayne would, and I even been in the years later down the road. He was with Chris Levant and Tommy Shannon, like Double Trouble, like
The Double Trouble
I
Band.
literally.
Amazing.
Are you
Amazing.
kidding me? I was
Amazing.
such a Stevie Ray Vaughan. It literally, you making me feel like a 17-year-old kid right now, freaking out, man. But yeah, he actually lives in Franklin, Tennessee. I can't wait till I run into him at Walmart.
That's amazing. That is
That's where
amazing.
I
But
live.
yeah.
So, but he is one of the biggest roots in who I am as a person, especially musically. Blues is always where I found it, and Kenny's the one that's always delivered it. So him and Noah both. So
I love those guys.
Yes.
They're like my musical brothers. Like whenever I see them, I just feel like, oh, my family is here. My family is home. They're just the absolute best and salt of the earth. So talk to me about new music. I'm excited.
Uh, so
Let's talk here.
so it'll be the first album I've done with Saving Abel in over a decade. It'll be my
Woo!
fourth album with them though. But yeah, so yeah, we got back in the studio and we started, as I said, rediscovering our passions and who we were, as kids, as I call it. And it ended up turning into what I had hoped and always seen in my vision of Saving Abel, how I always wanted them to sound, how I always thought that it should sound, because being young and going through, Saving Abel out on tour with Avenged Sevenfold, it's like, how do I sound like that? A Southern rock, you know what I'm saying? I can't sing like that. So, I always had a hard time comparing myself to other bands. But coming back this time around, it's so much more natural if you just accept who you are and be proud of it. And we are a Southern rock band. That's
Love
who
that.
we are.
Love that.
That is how we
Jersey
got
loves
here.
that. We love that.
Absolutely.
We have a live night show and he's our Southern Fried Maniac.
Absolutely.
And we just love that. That is the roots of rock. That is such roots of rock and roll.
Well,
And we've always loved that. That has always played so well to us here, where we recognize talent, songwriting, amazing musicianship, and just that great organic feel when you're on stage
yeah.
wowing a crowd.
And well, it's who we are. And obviously I surrendered and accepted it, but now years ago, but it's something that I'm proud of. And in the formation of writing this album, we got we got a new drummer. His name's Dave Murata, and this guy is literally he was in my band, Jared Weeks, in the band Criminals, like my solo project. And I swear, the first time I heard him drum, I literally was singing and he was drumming behind me, and I in my head I was like, I'm taking him with me
Wherever I go.
yeah, wherever I go. And so obviously I brought him with me when I came back to Saving Abel, but he really has put a force and has driven this band to find this more rock and roll riff driven music that we have, been creating. And it's been really exciting, as I said, obviously to rediscover that passion, but it's starting to bleed over and show through our music. Even our lyrics. Like I said, it's not about egos and BJs anymore. It's about more substance,
I love that.
yeah, it's so it's been really exciting to be in there, working with Skid. Obviously he's been my producer for over 20 years now, so
yeah
a lot of good people still involved here, man, and we're all pretty excited and proud of what we got coming. Our first single, Baptize Me, is coming out April the 14th, and obviously it's a song about taking your life back, which is what I feel that I have done with mine. I'm pretty proud of. But it's going to hit you real quick, punch you in the gut, say hello, and then back out.
I love that. I absolutely
exit,
love that.
Yeah.
And you guys are busy. I saw a busy spring, busy summer coming up with shows and tours. If you come out to New Jersey, will you come by and see us? You promise?
Absolutely. I would not think of not doing it.
Please
I got friends in Jersey, man. I got a girl named Tara out there. She's got a bar. It's called Charlie's Corner. I stop by every time I'm in town.
Oh, I'll go over to Charlie's Corner.
Absolutely.
That will be amazing.
Come in, Tara.
And you can come out and see the gold record at our station in person, and we can't wait for new music.
I'll take a photo with it.
It has been a blast. I'm so happy to reconnect with you. I always say I feel so grateful that when I have great memories with people, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later, I can reconnect with these people and see them again. And I have such fond memories of you guys playing PNC and hanging out and everything. So it's so nice to see you and so excited that you're back in Saving Abel. We've got new music coming, and I can't wait to see you in person soon.
Terry, I really enjoy your vibe. I love your vibration. You put off really good energy, and I accept it. I think it's awesome, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, please don't reject me. Thank you. Jared, Jared Weeks from Saving Abel. What a pleasure to have you on Reconnect with Rockers. Thanks for hanging, dude.
Thanks for having me.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.